"Don't come home. Your sister doesn't want you there," my parents said. Years later, at my wedding, I still remember the sound my phone made that night. Not loud, not dramatic, just one short vibration on the table beside my bed. But that single vibration changed everything. I was packing my suitcase, folding my clothes neatly, smiling to myself. I hadn't been home in 3 years. 3 long years of missed birthdays, missed dinners, missed hugs. I was finally going back for my father's 60th birthday. I wiped my hands on my jeans and picked up my phone. "Mom." I smiled before I even opened the message. That smile didn't last. "Don't come home. Your sister doesn't want you there." I read it once, then again, then a third time. My brain refused to understand the words. I typed back quickly, "What do you mean?" The reply came almost instantly. "It's better this way. Please don't make this harder for everyone." My chest tightened. I sat down on the edge of the bed, phone shaking in my hand. Harder for everyone? What about me? I called her, straight to voicemail. I called my father. Ringing, ringing, then silence. That was the moment I knew. They weren't confused, they weren't mistaken, they had chosen. And it wasn't me. Growing up, I was the quiet one. My sister, Lily, was everything else. Loud, beautiful, confident. The kind of child teachers loved and neighbors admired. When she walked into a room, people noticed. When I walked in, people smiled politely, then looked past me. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" my mother used to say. She never said it cruelly. That somehow made it worse. Lily was the sun. I was the shadow. Still, I loved her. I defended her at school. I covered for her when she broke rules. I believed, stupidly, that blood meant something. Until the night everything cracked. I was 19 when it happened. I came home early from work and found Lily crying in the kitchen. My parents were standing there, faces stiff, eyes cold. "What's going on?" I asked. Lily looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "She told them," she whispered. "Told them what?" I asked. That's when my mother slapped me. I didn't even see it coming. The sound echoed through the room. "How could you?" she screamed. "How could you do that to your own sister?" I was frozen. "I didn't do anything," I said, my voice shaking. But Lily was already crying harder, hiding her face in my father's chest. "She said you ruined her," my father said quietly. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I begged them to listen. They didn't. They never did. By the end of that night, I was told to leave. No explanations, no chance to defend myself, no goodbye. I left with a backpack and a heart full of questions that never got answered. Years passed. I built a life from nothing. I worked 2 jobs. I slept in tiny rooms. I cried alone. I learned how to survive without a family. And somewhere along the way, I stopped waiting for apologies that were never coming. Until that message. Don't come home. It wasn't just rejection. It was confirmation. I wasn't part of that family anymore. So, I unpacked my suitcase, folded everything back, and told myself I was done. 5 years later, my phone rang again. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Almost. "Hello?" I said. There was a pause. Then a voice I hadn't heard in years. "It's Mom." My heart dropped. "We got your wedding invitation," she said. I blinked. "My what?" "Your wedding," she repeated. "We didn't know you were getting married." I laughed softly, not because it was funny, but because it hurt. "Well," she said, "we're coming." I swallowed. "You weren't invited." Her voice hardened. "We're your parents." "And years ago," I said quietly, "you told me not to come home." Silence. Then she said the words that made my blood run cold. "Your sister wants to talk to you at the wedding." I stared at the wall long after the call ended, because I knew if Lily wanted to talk, it wasn't to apologize. And whatever she planned to do, she had chosen the one day in my life that was supposed to be happy.
After that call, I didn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to my fiancé breathe softly beside me. His name was Ethan. Calm, kind. The kind of man who listened without interrupting and believed without questioning. Everything my family never did. In the dark, I turned toward him but didn't wake him. I didn't want to explain my past again, the accusations, the silence, the way I was erased overnight. Some stories still hurt too much to say out loud. I met Ethan 3 years earlier, on the worst day of my life. My landlord had just told me he was raising the rent. I had $20 in my wallet and no plan. I was sitting on the steps outside my building, head in my hands, trying not to cry. "Are you okay?" a voice asked. I looked up. He was holding 2 coffees. "I bought an extra," he said awkwardly, "in case someone needed one." I almost laughed. I took the cup. That coffee turned into a conversation. That conversation turned into dinners. Those dinners turned into a life. For the first time, someone wanted to know me, not my sister, not my mistakes, just me. When Ethan proposed, I cried harder than he expected, not because I was surprised, but because I finally felt chosen. We planned a small wedding, nothing fancy, just close friends, soft lights, warm music, and peace. I didn't invite my parents. I didn't invite Lily. I thought my past was behind me. I was wrong. 2 weeks before the wedding, a letter arrived, handwritten. I recognized the writing immediately. Lily. My hands went cold. I stared at the envelope for a long time before opening it. "I know you hate me, but we need to talk. I can't live with this anymore. Please let me come to your wedding. Just me and Mom and Dad. I promise I only want peace." Peace. That word almost broke me. Where was her desire for peace when I was thrown out? Where was peace when my name became a dirty secret? I didn't respond, but 3 days later, my phone rang again. "Dad, I know you're hurt," he said, "but Lily has been struggling for years." I closed my eyes. "And I haven't?" I asked quietly. "She's your sister," he replied. There it was, always Lily. Ethan noticed the change in me. "You don't have to let them come," he said gently. "I know," I replied. "But?" he asked. "But if they come," I said, voice trembling, "I want the truth to come with them." He took my hands. "Then I'll stand next to you when it does." The day of the wedding arrived faster than I expected. Sunlight poured through the windows. Soft music filled the room. My friends laughed as they helped me get ready. I should have been glowing. Instead, my stomach was in knots. Then I saw them. My parents entered first. Older, slower, but still the same serious expressions. And behind them, Lily. She looked fragile, paler, thinner, but still beautiful, still the center of attention. She looked at me and burst into tears. "I missed you," she whispered, hugging me like nothing had ever happened. I stood there stiff, unsure how to react. My mother smiled like everything was normal, like I had been erased for years. The ceremony was beautiful. I married the man who saved me. I should have been the happiest person alive. Then came the reception, and Lily stood up. She raised her glass.
"I'd like to say something," she said. The room went quiet. My heart dropped. Ethan squeezed my hand. Lily looked at me, eyes shining. "I've carried guilt for years," she began. "And today, before my sister starts her new life, I want to finally tell the truth." The room leaned in. My parents froze. My breath caught in my throat, because I knew whatever truth she was about to tell would either destroy me or finally set me free.
Lily's hand trembled as she held the glass. The room was silent, so silent I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. She looked around at the guests, then back at me. "For years," she said, her voice shaking, "I let someone else carry my shame." My mother's face drained of color. My father stared at the floor. I felt dizzy. Lily took a deep breath. "When I was 19, she continued, "I made a mistake, a big one. And when our parents found out, I was scared. My hands were cold. So I lied," she said. A sharp breath escaped my chest. "I told them my sister did something to me that she never did." The room gasped. Someone dropped a fork. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. "I let them believe it," Lily went on, tears streaming now. "I watched them throw her out, and I stayed silent, because telling the truth meant destroying the image they had of me." I stared at her. Years of pain flashed through my mind, sleeping on couches, crying alone, wondering what I'd done wrong. "And the man I said hurt me," Lily whispered, "he never existed." My mother let out a broken sob. My father's hands shook. Lily turned to them. "You destroyed her life because I was too weak to be honest." The room was frozen. Every eye slowly turned toward me. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. I should have felt victory, relief, justice. Instead, I felt empty. My mother stood up. Her knees buckled, and my aunt rushed to steady her. "I believed you," my mother cried, looking at Lily. "I believed you." "I know," Lily said, "and that's why I waited too long to fix this." She turned back to me. "I don't deserve your forgiveness," she said, "but you deserved the truth years ago." The silence stretched. I finally stood. My legs felt weak, but my voice was steady. "You didn't just take my home," I said quietly. "You took my parents, my safety, my identity." Lily nodded, sobbing, "I know." My father tried to speak. "I failed you," he whispered to me. "We failed you." I looked at them. Strangers. I spent years thinking I was unlovable because the people who were supposed to protect me chose a lie. Ethan stood up beside me, proud, calm, unshaken. "This woman," he said, his voice strong, "is the strongest person I know, and no lie could ever define her." Tears streamed down my face, not from pain, from release. Lily stepped back. "I won't ask to be part of your life," she said. "I just couldn't let you start this marriage carrying my sin." She set the glass down and walked out, just like I once had. Only this time, I wasn't the one being erased. The reception ended early. Guests hugged me, apologized, told me they admired my strength. But when the room emptied, I sat alone, staring at my wedding dress, wondering what comes after the truth. After the last guest left, the room felt hollow,
like all the noise, all the emotion had been sucked out of the air. I sat at the edge of the table, still in my wedding dress, staring at the empty chair where Lily had been sitting. Ethan knelt in front of me. "You don't have to do anything tonight," he said softly. "You don't owe anyone anything." I nodded, but my heart was restless. Some wounds don't close just because the truth comes out. My parents didn't leave. They stood near the door, unsure, afraid, like strangers waiting for permission. My mother finally stepped forward. "Can we talk?" she asked. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. I looked at her. For years, I imagined this moment, me yelling, crying, demanding answers. Instead, I just felt tired. "Sit," I said. They sat. My father couldn't meet my eyes. My mother's hands shook. "We were wrong," she whispered. "About everything." I waited. "We should have listened," she continued. "We should have protected you. But we chose the easier story because it hurt less to believe you were bad than to believe Lily could lie." That sentence hit harder than any slap. "You chose comfort over truth," I said. She nodded, crying. "Yes." My father finally spoke. "Every year," he said quietly, "I wanted to call you. Every birthday, every holiday." "Then why didn't you?" I asked. "Because I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid you'd hate me. Afraid you'd remind me of what I did." I laughed softly. "You already lost me," I said. "Fear didn't protect you from that." Silence. Then my mother said something I never expected. "We don't deserve to be in your life," she said. "But if you ever choose to let us back in, we'll wait, as long as it takes." I studied their faces, older, worn, broken in ways I hadn't seen before. And for the first time, they weren't asking for forgiveness. They were accepting consequences. "I'm not ready," I said, honestly. They nodded. "That's fair," my father whispered. Ethan stood and put his arm around me. "We're leaving for our honeymoon tomorrow," he said gently. "We'll reach out if and when we're ready." My parents stood. My mother hesitated. "Can I hug you?" she asked. I paused, then nodded. Her hug was soft, careful, like she was afraid I might disappear. When she pulled back, her eyes were full of regret. "I'm proud of you," she said. Those words came years too late, but they still mattered. That night, in a quiet hotel room, Ethan held me as I finally cried. Not from pain, from release. "I don't know if I can forgive them," I whispered. "You don't have to," he replied. "Healing doesn't need forgiveness. It needs honesty." For the first time in my life, I felt free. But healing isn't a straight line, and 3 months later, Lily came back.
3 months after the wedding, life was finally quiet. Ethan and I had settled into a small house with creaky floors and warm light in the evenings. We cooked dinner together, argued over which movie to watch, laughed over nothing. I was learning how to live without waiting for the next heartbreak. Then one afternoon, there was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, my heart stopped. Lily stood there. She looked nothing like the confident girl who once ruled our home. Her shoulders were slumped. Her eyes were tired. She held a small bag in her hands like a shield. "I know I shouldn't be here," she said quickly. I didn't know where else to go." I didn't invite her in. I told the truth," she said, her voice breaking, "and everything fell apart." I stayed silent. "Our parents asked me to leave. They said they need time, that they can't look at me without remembering what they did to you." The irony almost made me laugh. Now she was the one without a home. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," Lily said. "I just need a place to stay. For one night." I looked at her. This was the girl who watched me get thrown out. This was the girl who lived my life while I survived. And yet, she was still my sister. I stepped aside. "One night," I said. Ethan said nothing when he saw her. He simply nodded and went back to the kitchen. That kindness hurt more than anger would have. Lily barely ate. She sat at the table, hands folded, eyes down. "I lost my job," she admitted quietly, "when people found out." I felt a sharp twist in my chest. Consequences. "They hate me," she whispered. I looked at her. "I know," I said. That was all. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept remembering the past. Her laughter, my silence. Her lie, my exile. Forgiveness wasn't a switch you could flip. It was a weight, and I wasn't sure I could carry it. In the morning, Lily stood in the doorway. "I'll leave," she said. "I won't bother you again." I studied her face. "I won't protect you," I said firmly. "I won't lie for you, and I won't erase what you did." She nodded. "I know that." "But," I continued, "I won't abandon you either." Her eyes filled with tears. "You don't deserve that kindness," I added. "I know," she whispered. Weeks passed. We spoke little. Slowly, carefully, like strangers learning each other again. One night, Lily said something that changed everything. "I was jealous of you," she admitted. "You were quiet, but you were good, and I was terrified that if they saw you clearly, they wouldn't love me as much." The truth hurt, but it healed too. My parents called one evening. "We heard Lily is with you," my mother said. "Yes," I replied. There was a pause. "We're not ready to see her," my father said. "I understand," I answered. "But we'd like to see you," my mother added. I looked at Lily across the room and realized something powerful. I had become the person who chose. I didn't answer my parents right away. I sat on the couch long after the call ended, staring at nothing. For most of my life, I waited for them to choose me. Now they were asking, and for the first time, I had a choice. Ethan sat beside me. "You don't have to go," he said. "I know," I replied, "but I think I need to. Not for them, for me." I met my parents at a small cafe near the river, neutral ground. They stood when I walked in. My mother smiled nervously. My father looked older than I remembered. We ordered coffee. Silence stretched. "I'm not here to fix things," I said finally. "I'm here to set boundaries." They nodded. "We accept that," my father said. "I won't be the bridge between you and Lily. What she did was wrong. What you did after was worse." My mother flinched. "But I won't punish her forever either. That's not my job." Tears filled my mother's eyes. "You're stronger than we were," she whispered. I didn't argue. My father cleared his throat. "We've started therapy," he said. "Individually, together. We're trying to understand why we failed you." I studied him. This wasn't an apology meant to erase the past. It was an effort to face it. "I'm not ready to be your daughter the way I once was," I said, "but I'm open to rebuilding, slowly." My mother reached for my hand. I let her. That was my answer. When I returned home, Lily was sitting on the porch. She stood up quickly. "I'll leave if you want," she said. I shook my head. I met them, I said. Her face fell. And Andy? She asked. They're trying, but healing doesn't move at the same speed for everyone. She nodded. I don't expect to be part of that, she said. I looked at her. You don't get to disappear anymore. Running is how this started. She swallowed. I'll stay and face it. Months passed. Lily found work. She paid rent. She volunteered. Not for redemption, for responsibility. My parents sent letters. No pressure, no guilt, just accountability. And slowly, something shifted. One evening, Ethan and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. You didn't lose your family, he said softly. You redefined it. I leaned into him. For the first time, I didn't feel like the forgotten child. I felt whole.
Home used to be a place I wasn't allowed to enter. Now, it was something I carried inside me. Months passed without drama. No shouting, no sudden confessions, just time doing what time does best, softening sharp edges. Lily stayed, not because I asked her to, because she chose to face the life she had broken. She cooked, cleaned, worked late shifts, came home exhausted. Some nights she cried quietly in her room. I never went in. Healing doesn't need an audience. One afternoon, my mother sent a letter. Not long, not emotional, just honest. We are not asking for holidays or roles or titles. We are asking for the chance to do better, if you ever allow it. I read it twice, then folded it carefully. Ethan and I talked late into the night. Forgiveness doesn't mean reunion, he said. I know, I replied. It means peace. That word again, peace. This time, it didn't feel like a weapon. I invited my parents for coffee. Lily wasn't there. That was intentional. They arrived quietly. My mother's hands still shook. I won't make you choose, I said, before anyone could speak. This isn't about sides anymore. My father nodded. We understand. You can be part of my life, but it won't look like before. No control, no silence, no rewriting the truth. My mother cried. We accept that. It wasn't dramatic. It was real. Later that night, Lily sat beside me on the porch. They met you, she said. Yes. She nodded. I'm glad. She hesitated. I don't need forgiveness, she said. I just want to live honestly now. I looked at her. That's how this started, and that's how it ends. She smiled sadly. A year later, Ethan and I hosted a small dinner. Friends, laughter, warm light. My parents came. Lily came. They didn't sit together. They didn't pretend. They coexisted. And that was enough. As I watched the room, something inside me settled. I wasn't the girl who was thrown out anymore. I wasn't the sister in someone else's shadow. I was the woman who survived truth, loss, and choice, and built a home from honesty.
2 years after my wedding, I stood in the doorway of our home and watched life happen. Ethan was in the kitchen, laughing as he tried to cook dinner without burning it. The smell of garlic and warmth filled the air. Soft music played in the background. This was the life I once thought I didn't deserve. The doorbell rang. I opened it. My parents stood there, not as authority, not as judges, just people. They smiled gently. Thank you for inviting us, my mother said. I nodded. Come in. Behind them, Lily arrived a few minutes later. She didn't avoid them. They didn't reach for her. There was space and respect. That was new. Dinner was simple.
No heavy conversations, no digging into old wounds, just stories, laughter, life. At one point, my father looked at me and said something I had waited years to hear, but no longer needed. "You did nothing wrong." I smiled. "I know." And I meant it. Later that night, as everyone prepared to leave, my mother hugged me. Not tightly, not desperately, just lovingly. "You built something beautiful," she said. I watched them walk away. No ache, no fear, no longing, just peace. I closed the door and leaned against it. Ethan came up behind me. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. "I finally understand something," I said. "What?" he asked. I turned to him. "Family isn't who refuses you at your worst. It's who respects you when you stand in your truth." He smiled. "So, we did okay?" I laughed softly. We did more than okay. That night, I lay in bed thinking about the girl I once was, the one who packed her bags and believed she wasn't wanted. I wish I could go back and tell her this. You will be rejected. You will be blamed. You will be hurt. But you will survive. And one day, you will build a life so full of honesty and love that no one will ever have the power to exile you again.